Welcome to Chapter 12, Exercise 12.3, Sentence 1. Peter will be invited to the party but will not be introduced to Jameen, and this chapter 12 is about coordination. So you'll see that we have a big conjunction here. The but is a conjunction. And conjunctions, as we'll learn in Chapter 12, always separate branches that have the same form. In this case, predicate phrases. Will be invited to the party and will not be introduced to Jameen are predicate phrases that the but coordinates. So let's get going. We will, as usual, create these nodes, make this a declaration. Peter is going to be its own subject, so it'll be we could call it a NP, but just to be a little bit lazy, we'll just call it an N. Say Peter's the subject. We'll be invited to the party. Okay, we're going to have predicate phrases. What we're going to have is, this is a little bit tricky, so you have to think about this as the longest span first, always. And always. So the longest span is the rest of the sentence, because the rest of the sentence is a predicate phrase. Okay. But now we're going to chunk this into two chunks that have the same form. So one is going to be a predicate phrase here, and the other is going to be a predicate phrase. And this nice but is going to be a conjunction. That's the form of it. And the function, as we'll learn in Chapter 12, is coordinator. Okay? Now that's the hard part. I mean, what you see now is the triangles, but let's say that we want to eliminate some of those triangles, so let's get to it. Will be invited to the party. We know that will be invited. This is really a verb phrase and a prepositional phrase. Will be invited is the verb phrase, and to the party is the prepositional phrase. And as we've seen in other chapters, we have will, and will is a modal. Will is an aux. The form is an aux. It is a modal of be. Be, on the other hand, is the perfect aspect. No, sorry. Be is not the perfect aspect. Be is the passive element. Be in. So it is also an aux, but this is the passive element. Invited then is the lexical verb. Predicate. Will be invited, if we want to take some of this into account, will be invited here is simply the predicate. And then here, which takes into account the whole predicate phrase, will be invited to the party. Well, actually, let's get to this before we do that. Let's go to here. To the party is an adverbial complement because it extends or completes the idea of invited. But if we want to go deeper than that, well, actually, yeah, if we want to go deeper than that, then we know that to is the adverbial complement here, and it is a preposition, and the party is a noun phrase. And so now we have our article, and we have our determiner, and we have our party, or N. And so party is going to be the prepositional complement of to. So this is the prepositional complement. The party is the professional complement. To the party is the adverbial complement. And then will be invited to the party. Peter will be invited to the party. That is the entire predicate. Okay, at least the first predicate before the conjunction. We might even think about that as the pre-conjunction predicate, but that's nothing that we have to memorize. And then we have this guy, which is the whole predicate phrase, and so that's the whole predicate, which is will be invited to the party but will not be introduced to Jamin. Okay, and then now we have to kind of do to the right side what we did to the left side. So here we have will. Will is a modal. I hope we don't run out of space, but it looks like we might. Okay, will is an aux, sorry. It's the modal of be. Okay, because we also have this not element here from chapter 10, this negator. Okay, we know the not is an adverbial. Or an adverb, sorry. We should just call it an adverb. And it's also a negator. This be is, again, the passive element with the ed form. So we're going to call this an aux. It's a passive auxiliary. Let's see if I can move this guy. Yeah, I can move it a little bit. Okay, so introduced is the main lexical verb for this predicate phrase. That's the verb, and it is the predicate. And then to Janine is a prepositional phrase that's also an adverbial complement because it completes the idea of introduced. So we're going to have here a prepositional phrase as the form, and then to Janine is the adverbial complement, and we have to kind of scroll over. So this is the preposition rather as form, but it's adverbial complement to complete the idea of introduced, and then Janine is the noun that is the prepositional complement. Okay, so now if we go further to Janine, that's also an adverbial complement, and then we have this guy here, which is will not be introduced to Janine. That looks very much like it is a predicate phrase. Okay. Sorry. Okay, and is there any others? Are we missing any functional slots here? Doesn't appear so. So it's a lot of stuff introduced, but it looks like it's right. Okay, so we're going to quit here.